Making Nigeria a better place will involve the building of strong institutions, respect for the rule of law, and defending public interest. Therefore, the commitment to building an egalitarian society founded on equity, justice, and respect for fundamental human rights is imperative in today's Nigerian society. Joining us now as we discuss what it takes for a better society of Nigeria to suffice amid the economic hardships faced by citizens is Braimah, publisher, editor-in-chief, Niger Times. Braimah will also be commenting on his recent book titled For a Better Niger. Well, thank you very much for joining us. Well, they know you out there as Braimah. We know you in the background as Foxy.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us, and thank you for giving us a copy of this book, For a Better Society.
Yes.
A compilation of editorials published in Niger Times from September 2020 to July 2023. We'll talk about the book later. But first, how do we turn Nigeria into a better society? For you as a citizen, what are those urgent issues that we need to focus on, particularly on the back of the 2023 general elections and the aftermath?
Yes, thank you, Dr. Abati. Thank you, Ayo and Rufai. I think there is no Nigerian who does not love Nigeria. I think that's the starting point. And the country too, as we have discovered, is so blessed. You know, human resources, material resources, natural endowments that we are so blessed with. So we begin to wonder, when I say we, I mean Nigerians and even friends of Nigeria, that why do we just continue to drift endlessly? It bothers a lot of us, and things are really getting worse, if you know what I mean. Just yesterday, I was speaking to a friend, a colleague, and he told me when he worked in the finance department, one of the ministries in the states, Ministry of Works and Housing, then they gave level 7 officers car loan of 4,800 naira. And they could buy the Volkswagen Beetle for 3,600. In this same country, he told me he worked in the FX department of a bank then, and the dollar was 0.67 naira. That is 67 kobo to the dollar. And you begin to wonder what happened between then and now. When Alhaji was Minister of Finance, I think the dollar was about 80 kobo. I remember in 2013, 2014, the dollar was about 150, 155. So just 9 years later, the dollar we're now struggling. The dollar has been on the free fall, and it's now 1,000 naira. You know, it creates some kind of panic and depression, amongst Nigerians, both at home and abroad. And it's like, when will this end? When will this light end? You know, in which sector can you point to today that you say things are really working for us? Nigeria should work for every Nigerian, but unfortunately, the reality is that things are not working. The refineries are not working. They have never worked. We don't have lights. I remember, now diesel is over 1,000 naira thereabout. We've been running diesel since yesterday, and I'm sure you're running diesel on your generator here too. So what exactly is the problem? When Obasanjo, Olusegun Obasanjo was president of this country, there was heavy investment in power. That has happened between 1999 and today, 23 years after. We still don't have light. I recall when I was a student at Uniben, an undergraduate then, we used to buy this watch for 150 kobo. I still recall that cover story on the darkness, the problem of power. I can't recall the exact title, maybe A Nation in Darkness. Between then and now, what has changed? So this is why Nigerians are losing hope. You see a lot of Nigerians leaving. This is because you just believe that tomorrow will not be better than today. So they just want to just get out. But I still believe that we cannot give up on Nigeria. All of us can't leave Nigeria. Then secondly, we must prioritize Nigeria as a nation over where we come from. Where we come from, religion, tribe, they are important, but I believe having this national identity is very important. I always cite the example of Zambia. I was in Zambia in September last month, and I discovered that they have 72 tribes. They had the same problem. It was just about protection of territories and their tribes. So they launched a campaign, One Zambia, One Nation, and I think that really helped, to galvanize the people towards a common purpose. So we need to have a sense of higher purpose, one vision that every Nigerian can buy into, and then you have a transformational leader that will motivate and inspire Nigerians.
All right, thank you so much for that, Mr. Braimah. I want to ask you, is there any such thing as the Nigerian dream? Is there any such thing as a collective or shared hope or collective or shared idea of the Nigeria of our dreams? There was a time when there was the slogan, great people, great nation, we're working towards something. You talk about people leaving the country in droves. We have statistics on that. Professionals, doctors, IT professionals, young people, migrating to anywhere. Canada is said to be the new capital of Nigeria. In fact, they say that. If any country is open, Albania. In fact, some people will go to Israel or Palestine at the moment.
They go to African countries. So
yeah. So is there? And what should we be doing towards that? This hopelessness. How do we address it? Because no matter what we say, people don't feel like they have a stake in the nation. Then they won't come back or feel that they are part of fixing this country.
Everything rises and falls on leadership, whether it's in your home, in your organization, your business, or even Nigeria. Leadership. If we are able to get the leadership right at the center, at the state level, even at the local council level, I'm sure Nigerians will be waiting to see what those changes will bring about. I have friends who live abroad, they live and work abroad. And they used to tell me, oh, I want to come back home. I want to come back home. That was like 5 years ago. But now the story has changed. They said they're no longer coming. They worry about three things, basically. One, security. Two, electricity problem. Three, our bad roads. Now look at what happened between Benin and Warri the other day. I think at Ologbo Junction. That explosion. Look at the number of lives we lost. Best that can be avoided. So, talking about the Nigerian dream, it is still very possible. Nigeria is a great country. I will say it any day, anywhere. But who are the people underdeveloping Nigeria? I always refer to it as elite conspiracy. The people who say they are vested interests. They are the people. And somehow, the long arm of the law does not touch them, does not get to them. They are untouchables. So, government after government, 24 years or 23 years is long enough to build a very great country. In Zambia, in Cote d'Ivoire, at least I've been to those two places in the last 2 years. For the period I was there, light was 24/7. So what is the big deal about having light here? That should be a starting point for everybody. So the Nigerian dream is possible. We just need a leader. What is the role of a leader? It's basically to inspire and motivate others. To foster that buy-in, buy-in culture into the vision. A country must have a vision where we are going to, and you mobilize everybody to follow you to get to that destination. So I think we have missed it because of vested interests who don't want the progress of this. Light. If we can ban generators in Nigeria, the light will work. That's the truth. If we say no more generators in this country, you'll be surprised at the same light that we are saying is not possible. 24/7, it's going to be possible. We schooled here. I went to public schools in Nigeria.
Which village school was that?
Not a village school, please. I went to Government College, Ugeli, and the University of Benin. These are not private schools. Okay? But today, what is happening? Our people are leaving for schools outside of Nigeria, putting pressure on the dollars.
They are coming back. They can't afford it.
I must confess, I'm also
guilty as charged.
I'm guilty as charged. It's open disclosure. But what are we saying? Nothing is working here. I'm sorry to say that I don't belong to the class of people who demarket Nigeria because I actually fight them. Instead, I say let us look for the solutions. It shouldn't be me, myself, and I alone. Let us come together as people of Nigeria and find solutions to our problems. But as I said, a leader is necessary. At the state level, at the local council level, at the national level, we need leaders that can inspire Nigerians. Nigerians are ready to come back if things suddenly change overnight. But I don't know when that miracle will happen.
Okay, so, it's exciting you've talked about these things, but I'm also going to challenge a couple of norms. At first, we keep saying Nigeria was better back in the days, but then did we really even have good leadership, or there were problems. It was just that things were not this worse then. I mean, because those good old days you talked about, in universities you could buy a news watch for 1 naira, 50 kobo. Those were the days of the likes of Umar Diko. All right? If you want to dial back, the independence days that you said things were good, those were the days of the likes of Festus Okotiebo. And we all know the story. So this is the same Nigeria. That's one norm I'm challenging. The second norm I'm going to challenge is also what a Ghanaian professor, Professor George Aite, calls the retinue of retainers. So we keep blaming the elite consensus, but we forget that this so-called elite class that becomes our leaders, they are people that they have as their brigades that support them, which we call the retinue of retainers. These are the people that benefit from those in power. And these are those that are the intellectuals in society that they'll never tell the truth because they are eating from the pot one way or the other. And these people are in abundance. Funny enough, these are the people that will come and pontificate and say they want Nigeria to be better. But in the back, they are eating. It's for their own benefits. And in real sense, they don't want it to be better as long as they can go by. And these are the people too that are advising the so-called elite class that don't worry, rig elections, nothing will happen. What can we say about that peculiar group of people? They are not in the forefront, they are not behind.
There is a grand conspiracy against this country by the same people you are talking about. And until we begin to call them out, let them go to jail, there should be proper prosecution. Okay, just yesterday we were reading the papers, an army general was jailed for 7 years. I mean, it's out there in the open for forgery, misappropriation of funds, conspiracy, and the rest of it. Those were some of the charges. And jailed for 7 years. I think $2.1 million, 1.65 billion. That is just one person. So these things happen on a daily basis. Nigerians are the ones underdeveloping Nigeria. Fine, well, I have agreed, I've conceded that we need leadership. But at the same time, this set of people you just identified behind the screen, behind the curtain, are the people who are, because of greed, they decide to embrace corruption. You know, a society that is dysfunctional, people will resort to self-help, to survive. Because at the end of the day, it's all about survival. That is the truth. It's all about survival. So whether people are stealing money, whether there is corruption, whether people are greedy, how do you explain a parent who is buying question papers for his children? Yes. So those are the issues that I think we need to examine as a people and agree on a framework to make things work better in Nigeria.
Okay, Foxy, again, thank you for giving us this book. But tell us about this book, For a Better Society, and tell us about Niger Times.
Okay.
I understand this is an advanced copy, so we're privileged.
Yes.
And the presentation is next week, public presentation. So tell us about these editorials.
Okay.
What these editorials say to us, compiled now in a book form.
Well,
and Niger Times.
Well, viewers around the world, the story of Niger Times. We're just 3 years old.
I'm surprised. Just yesterday.
Yes, you were there, Dr. Abati.
Of course.
When we had the virtual launch, it was in the middle of COVID, 2020. We started to experience a new world, virtual engagement. And because I was jobless for the time, at that time, I decided to write so many articles, and I published that in my first book. But Niger Times is basically an online newspaper. We decided to, in fact, I've always had it in mind to do an online newspaper. So we agreed, myself and two of my great friends, very senior journalists who have been very supportive, German and Ekolakbo, and Akpandem James, we decided that we should also have a weekly editorial. So we have a distinguished board, very prominent writers, we have lawyers, public policy analysts. We even have those in the academia from the University of Boston in Massachusetts, University of Massachusetts in Boston. That's Professor Darren Q is on the board. We also have so many Nigerians. The chairman of the board, of course, the editorial board is Akpandem James. Now, we publish weekly editorials. Probably one of the very few online newspapers that publish weekly editorials. And what we decided was, hey, I think in March this year, why don't we put everything together in a book form? You know, the same thinking I had 3 years ago when I produced my lockdown diary. So we started work, and Akbandem coordinated that effort. We had a book publication committee. We also have the anniversary committee, because the anniversary comes up, the third anniversary, where we are going to formally present this book in Abuja, the Jarabra Center. It's next week, 1 week from today on the 19th, at the Jarabra Center in Abuja. And Dr. Abati, you'll be there too with us, delivering our lecture, the anniversary lecture, which is the slogan of Nigeria Times, journalism in the service of society. We have Professor Wole Shekatu is giving us a good message on that day. We also have Aremo Shegun Oshoba, who is our father of the day. John Momo, the chairman of China's Media Group, is our chairman, while Azu is here when we review this book. So, in addition to that, we decided, if you look at the issues that we treat in our editorial, that's 90% on Nigeria.
Yes.
You know, Azu will review this book, but basically we have about 9 different chapters. You know, governance, politics, security, education, health and environment. You know, we also look at sports, international affairs and diplomacy. So these are issues that we treated as they occurred, you know, during the period. And I believe researchers, even the producers and presenters, anchors like you, find most of these materials useful for your research. You know what happened during that time. And I think we are expecting all of you to join us in Abuja on the 19th. But for those who can't make it, the event will be streamed live.
Brilliant. I mean, I can't help but look at some of the titles and already piqued my interest. I also like the fact that you also have already started talking about this present administration. So I must ask you, your assessment. You know, a few things you've looked at governance. You talked about Nigeria regaining its stance on the international scene. I'm trying to look for the exact topic you had used or the exact title. Really important. And then you looked at the economy, you look at education. How would you assess in, well, how many months now? We are at 5 months.
Or the 5th month.
Yeah, the 5th month. This administration's performance. Do you think we're on our way to a better society?
To be very honest with you, I think it's too early in the day to assess this administration or any administration just after 4 months. And as I also tell my friends when we discuss, there are no easy answers to our current situation, especially the economic challenges. The number one issue today is the economy. Yeah, people ask, yes, you know, so let us give them some time, you know, and in terms of policy choices, we should also wait. Appointments, I think most of the appointments have been very, very great. These are distinguished Nigerians in their own right. So let them settle down. I must commend some of the ministers already, who are pointing, you know, the way forward in the right direction with the vision they are trying to set for their respective ministries. But some of them also need to really wake up. And I think the time has come when you don't just take everybody along. For those who are performing, they should be encouraged. I will praise them. And any minister that is not doing well should be shown the door. That's my position.
All right.
Right. So I can see, I mean, it pretty much covers everything, and it's also sort of like a book of records, you know, because you can see topical events and things like that, you know, Nigerian 61. Let me take you up on this because we just finished our Independence Day celebration. In 2021, you wrote Nigerian 61, Prospects and Challenges of Nationhood. I saw many of the things you talked about. But if we were to juxtapose it, the same issues you talked about in 2021 have even gone worse than what is there. Somebody once sent me a message, yeah, there is a difference, and this is somebody that, you know, served in government many years ago, over 30, 40 years ago. He said the difference between then and now is because the government deliberately destroyed its own institutions by itself. What do you say about that?
I agree, absolutely. It's still the same mentality of me, myself, and I. Nobody's thinking about Nigeria or the next person. Everything is about me, myself, and I. And I think we need to shift away. You know, I wrote an article not too long ago titled it, Think Nigeria First. If we don't do that, we've just been going around in circles and nothing will change. Actually, things are getting, because everybody is just thinking of himself. I said resorting to self-help, because if you cannot hold on to a big national picture, which I call that vision, that can galvanize everybody in one direction, we just need a sense of higher purpose. And it's only a leader.
Why do you think we lack it?
Because we're just jokers. People come and do whatever they like, and they look at Nigeria Air. That was the joke of the year. And then the man goes scot-free. So what are we talking about? That becomes incentive for people to cut corners, to do whatever they like. That if the people go, nothing happens to them, they are not prosecuted, they are not in jail rotting away. It is an incentive to say, you know what, let me help myself. Because this country, how many Nigerians will die for Nigeria as we speak today? So, but that is not to say tomorrow will not be better. Let us also give our leaders the benefit of that. Some of the governors are doing very well, I must confess. So if in all the 36 states, the governors are doing well, because most of the time the attention is more on the federal government. Let us look at the subnational governments, the local councils. Even if the governors will allow those ones to even thrive in the first place. I think we can make there should be a deliberate effort, to make progress. Because we have leaders. Look at some organizations are running very well. They are run by Nigerians. Yeah. I will cite Transcorp Hilton. It shows that things can work in Nigeria. That's a hotel that's over 35 years old. So if that can work, it means things can work. But are we ready to allow things to work? Now, I was reading somewhere recently, you want to buy a ticket to board the train. Then you have some people, they are Nigerians, they're not foreigners, say, no, don't worry, give us the money, we'll buy the ticket for you. And the money does not go into the coffers of the government. So who are these people? They are Nigerians. So, but what is the motivation? Is to take care of themselves, because there's nothing to hold on to. They just believe that these governments come and go, the leaders take care of themselves, and they just underdevelop the rest of Nigerians. And I keep saying, we can't make Nigerians to become refugees in their own country. Life is tough today, as we say it. So let our leaders sit down. They have conscience. Sometimes I just get the impression that they just want to come in 4 years or 8 years. Primitive accumulation of wealth is for most of them is their objective. And after that, they go away. They don't care whether the rest of us are surviving. That has to change. Nigerians that we condemn, Nigerians are great people. They are good people. Nigerians are doing great things all over the world. Yeah. So that is why sometimes people wonder, what is happening in Nigeria? Why can't these same people make Nigeria work for Nigerians? That is the crux of the matter. So we are bothered. It is the main reason we set up this paper, to tell our own story, to highlight those great things about Nigeria, to interrogate issues, to challenge those who are, in charge of who are running our affairs, managing our affairs from time to time, and to point the way forward. We've done a lot of editorials in 3 years, as you will find here. Yeah. And we believe that the government, those in government, to all the ministry department agencies should get a copy too. It will help them. That is if they are ready to read.
You are marketing the book. We'll give you an invoice.
No, it is for Nigeria.
Okay, stay with the ideas. Don't advertise.
Well, thank you so much. I think this has been quite a rich conversation. Many things to think about, and task and a call for all to put hands together for a better society. Mr. Braimah, thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.